Hello, good morning, and everyone. And I'd like to say thank you for joining. Good morning. My name is Rotimi Tayo, and this is the Good Morning Education Show. We are streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. And it's such a pleasure to be here on the Good Morning Education Show. Today, we will be having another exciting episode, as usual, and we'll just be postulating some things that we believe could be a closer and a conversation that could help, us just begin to think about what actually could be done in terms of suggestions, ideation, to improve, the education sector. And as usual on the show, we have our analysts who will join us. We believe they'll join us any moment from now um, to to be on the show. Uh, we're looking forward to hearing their perspective on the show with regards to the conversation of the day. Please, if you're just joining us, do not hesitate to tell us your name and location where you're streaming from, and we will be excited, more than excited, to welcome your contribution. And if you have questions, do not hesitate to ask a question. We will take those questions on the show and make sure that yes, this is sorted out. But before we begin the main conversation, we're going to explore some headlines. There are some headlines that we'd like to look at as we start the show today. And the first one would be from, I believe, Daily Post. It says, Scott convicts ex-registrar of veterinary college for receiving 11 years double salaries. Wow, 11. Hmm, that's a serious one. One can only imagine what could have been the motivating factor to do such a thing. But well, that's what it is. It's a sad one for an ex-registrar to actually be convicted for a crime like that. TED Fund Summit report. Within 3 weeks, reps threaten to cut university um, funding. If you know about TED Fund, or you know that most universities get funded, through the special scheme. And the trust fund, which is the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, you know, a member of the House of Representatives Committee on Tertiary Education and Services, Aminu Suleiman, said that TED Fund should mandate state institutions benefiting from its intervention to submit reports of their operations within 3 weeks. And he warned that the failure to do so, right, um, there will be possible sanctions, and that may affect the fundings that will be going to such university forthwith. So there you have it. State Fund uh, is actually demanding beneficiaries to submit report. Now, on to the next headline. We have another interesting one, yet still an higher institution. Mapoli expels, suspends 90 students for examination malpractice. We've not seen the end of examination malpractice yet, but the headline here is speaking to us about that. So, 90 students. Well, we hope that there's proper investigation that carried out, so that those involved will have their fair day, and hopefully, if they're still guilty, then they face the music. All right. ASU, Kaduna University lecturers ignore El Rufai's threat, remain at home. You recall that sometime I think sometime earlier in the week or last week, the governor, El-Rufai, made a threat about the lecturers on strike. If they did not come back on board, they were going to, if they didn't come back on board, they were going to, you put it now, they're going to be sacked, and still the lecturers have refused to resume work, right? Now moving on to the next headline, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB has announced a new date for those candidates that missed the 2022 exams to take a mock-up exam. That's interesting. Yes. So those who fall into that category, I think you need to head over to the JAMB website or how you normally get your information and get ready for the mock experience. So if you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Education Show, and I'm excited to host you. My name is Rotimi Tayo, and we're having one more headline before we end on the headlines. So we have State to Build Nigeria, Uni Osun VC begs as varsity inducts 40 nurses. So that's the challenge, the brain drain that we have. So the nurses are actually being begged really to stay as they've been inducted. Well, I don't know how strong and how powerful the plea will be, but everyone eventually still has to do as they feel in their best interest. So today, we will be having an interesting topic, and I've put the topic in such a way that if I am appointed as minister, and I'd like to really hear, if possible, the thoughts and the opinion people have about this subject matter if they're being made minister. We're going to go on a very short break, and when we are back, we will look at this topic in retrospect. So don't go anywhere, stay tuned, come back with the intro video, and we will be right back. Thank So welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. And this is the Good Morning Education Show. Thank you all for joining. And we are having a great time today talking about if I'm made minister. The question I'd like to ask you out there is, what would you do if you're made minister? What exactly would be your plan? What exactly would be your steps? What steps would you take? What would you do differently? What would be your focus if you were made minister? How would you achieve the mandate of your work if you were made minister? So many times you get to hear things from several people, get to see things from several people, and a lot of times people begin to castigate those in authority and speak about the things they are doing not doing well enough, and all that. However, it's easy, to point accusing fingers. But honestly, we also cannot take it away from the fact that there are people who have a clue on what to do and how to do things. You know, that sometimes gives you that perspective, and you're able to see that yes, you, you truly, you truly can, you know, share your thoughts on what you think would be much more, a better reality, an effective reality as this is concerned. So we're going to be, tackling that this morning. So if I were to be asked, and I've been asked that question several times. If I'm made minister, if I'm appointed minister today, what will I do? I think that so many things will come into mind, and of course, thankfully, it's different from like the question I was asked some time ago. That if I had 1 month as minister, what would I do? I was like 30 days. Well, I think one of the things that we need to understand is that um, for a sector and the peculiarities of a country like Nigeria, my first step, or better still, one of the few things I would do is to come up with an education vision. And not to sound like a book record, or not to make it sound like, well, these things are things that are inspiring, those things are things that motivational speakers would say. But the truth of the matter is that, yes, we all need to realize that one of the best ways for people to now understand the kind of solution, support, intervention, ideas that will be required is when we ask ourselves, what exactly? So we're going to have a in visioning session, or a vision summit, where we're not just throwing ideas in the air, but we're able to map out what we want to do. And this vision will now be broken into thematic areas where we can actually see in the 2022-2023 academic session, what is our goal? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to attain? How do we want to get there? Because if we do not do that, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is we're going to be having, several interventions that become, how do you put it? It's just like having a mismatch of activities. Activities that look good, activities that sound right, that feels good, but honestly, it's not taking us anywhere. That is a problem. That's the honest. That is a problem. So I think starting from that, we're going to be thinking of visioning. And then that visioning is not just going to stay as a document, it's going to be something that we will now do a multi stakeholder approach. I probably will want other states to carve out the interpretation and alignment of such kind of vision in their respective, you know, in their respective states, working with the different organs. And then I'll also take a step further to say that, you know, if possible, can there be a campaign, you know, with and of such thing where we know that people out there can actually begin to get the best from the things that we're saying. They begin to see the seriousness based on the focus of each sector. Take, for example, the National Orientation Agency. They are actually available in all the states in the country. Or if you had to look at it, not just National Orientation Agency, the Ministry of Information, there's a lot that we're going to have to do to, collaborate and try as possible to get the word out there, for people to realize what we are doing and how we are faring. These are the things that I would do if I'm minister, you know. And then I would break probably the key concerns and areas of education or problems of education, so to speak, or the challenges that we face. I'll break them into four pillars. And those four pillars, I will probably look at it that if it was, for example, something I was doing for an administration in 4 years, probably adopt a pillar per year. While we might not be able to do so many things at the same time, but let's understand that if we fix a particular thing, we know that to a large extent that thing is up, it's running, there's a system to it, and we are fine, absolutely fine. So that's really what that is all about, where we're able to think about it and be able to push for it and get eventually the best of outcomes on it. So that in itself, excuse me, is one of the things I'll do. So, and having done that, it's easy for people to have shared resources, shared expertise, shared support, and get the best out of things, right? That's really that's really what it's all about. Apologies, it's feeling like I'm down with a cold, but really it's something that we need to think about, that as educators, you know, and as professionals, we need to be able to get to that point where we begin to adopt things in such a way where we know that we're not just following routine, we're not just ticking the boxes, we're getting things done from time to time. So for example, let's take the issue of teacher quality. You know, that's a big issue. And that's a pillar that we can focus on in a year. We're not talking about ending it in a year or solving everything in a year, but you will find out that that becomes a strong, you know, value point where you are more focused on that as a reality and outcome than any other thing. It's the same thing if you're thinking about teacher supply or teacher shortage. You know, the teacher shortage challenge. You also think about and begin to think about, okay, uh, what about how do we do this? How do we do? I mean, imagine we focus on a whole year on tackling and creating solutions and interventions to that. It will shift more than it's currently. Think about it when we decided to look at education, administration and education management at all levels. Then we know that nationally we are getting to meet up with some school cards with some points. We are proud to be able to say this is what we call standard within the sector. That's how it works. And then you begin to connect together, work together, because there's a vision in mind. Honestly, these are things that we need to understand, that can be done, that should be done, that must be done. And I believe that with time we'll have that sorted out, in a quick way. Well, um, that's really what I would like to share with you this morning. And just take it as food for thought that everyone might not be made minister. We might not have the privilege to be working in such regulatory offices. But then we need to ask ourselves, there must be something that we all can also do, thinking as if we're in the capacity of a minister and we are driving change, we're breathing change, we're moving, we're driving development, or making things happen. That's the mindset. It's almost like saying that this is a call, to have a minister's mindset in the school where you work, in the organization where you work, in the place where you find yourself in gainful employment, in your career path, in your industry, in your field, amongst your colleagues and within, you know, the organization setup. When you're able to do this, you're able to have better outcome, you're able to have better results, both in the short term and the long term. So go out there and make yourself a minister in your own right and begin to champion things, begin to contribute to things, begin to volunteer things, and you end up having a great time. You know. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to stop at this point, and hopefully we'll be seeing, Next week as well, I remember the Good Morning Education Show is here Mondays to Fridays, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. And then we're also here. Um, we're here also Saturday and Sunday for the weekend special, which is also 9 to 10 a.m. on Saturday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. We thank you for joining. Thank you. And remember, as we end the show today, remember it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.